Project Sapient is a podcast meant to engage our brothers and sisters in the law enforcement and military communities in conversations that we all know we need to have. All opinions you'll hear are our own, are protected by our First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and in no way reflect or are meant to reflect the opinion of any specific agency, officer, or service member. Some opinions may be controversial. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, guys.
Dude, this is totally my theme song.
You like it, right?
Yeah, it's like got the Jack Ryan feel to it.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Fucking espionage.
Hell yeah.
Is that what we're doing this week?
No.
You want to do some Jack Ryan shit?
Well,
I got a couple of callers we can bring on for that.
Well, listen, I got Bang, Red Bull, and now a coffee in me, so anything goes today.
I have a heart monitor on fucking Ayman right now just to make sure he's good. Guys, episode 8. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Episode 8, we're getting like crazy reviews. We're getting thousands of people listening. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's again, it's one of those like shocking things that, you know, we're like started this project and it's moving right along.
Yeah, thank God, man. Thank you for everything everybody's doing, first of all. Thank you for staying safe. Yeah. We don't have to talk about any kind of tragedies on the show. We have an awesome article this week. First thing we're going to do is we're going to play body camera footage. The article is it's by Ayman, obviously. It's called Live to Fight Another Day. It's very interesting the way it's worded and like the content that we're getting out of it. You're going to like it. So the body camera footage we have is from ABC 15 out of Arizona. I'm just going to start playing it now. Hold on, let me cue it up. Here it comes.
What's going on? Yeah, what are you doing? Good. What are you doing?
I'm skimming.
What?
How are you doing with this?
What is that? Stop walking away from me.
It's a stream.
Okay, so why are you bouncing around all the way? You have any ID on you?
No.
Don't go anywhere. All right, just relax.
Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm okay. I'm okay. Ah! Ah!
Stay down.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Don't move.
Okay.
You understand?
No, I'm okay. Help!
Stop moving.
I'm okay.
Don't you move, you understand?
Yeah. I need help.
Don't move.
I need help.
Don't stop moving.
Am I gonna go away?
Relax.
I'll breathe.
You are breathing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll clap me down.
All right, that's a little... I could see the video, what's going on, and you can find it on YouTube by just police body camera. Arizona officer detains teen with autism.
Autism, yep.
When you watch the video, you can kind of... I don't want to fault this guy, right? Because I never like playing Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, so quick background on the call. Someone calls seeing a kid in the park with drugs, you know, handling drugs or some sort of narcotic. So the officer went there to investigate.
So the premise is set.
Premise exactly is set. Now, what I think is I mean, it's too bad this kid got really injured during that whole encounter. And again, looking at it from that perspective, like I have an autistic son myself, and that could have been him kind of thing, where I don't want to quote friggin' famous people. I like to say that kind of shit, but you know, it's just one of those things where I know how my son is, and he's very fidgety. That's
right.
just the way he is. And you know, to me, I've encountered a lot of autistic kids throughout my career, and men, grown ass people.
Right.
And the thing is, though, you could tell right away.
Well, look, even in the body camera, right? I'm trying to look at it to play devil's advocate at the same time, right? So, like, you see from the body camera, he's got the body camera placed perfectly on his uniform, so you can kind of see everything going on.
Yeah.
The kid has something in his hands, and he says, the officer says to him, "What does he say? Let me see your hands," or something like that. The basic stuff.
Yeah.
And the kid basically gives him "I'm playing with this."
Yeah.
And the second that he spoke, I knew there was something up.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that I would have treated it differently because I'm not there.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not going through the same stressors, and
Yeah.
my eyes aren't exactly everything they were. But from the body camera, and this is how people can get in trouble.
Yeah.
What the body camera showed was that there was something up with this kid right away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I recognized that immediately.
Did he have probable cause to stop, a reasonable suspicion to stop him?
Well, yeah. I mean, to me, the kid matched the description that he was looking for.
Right.
Something about drugs in his hands, narcotics, whatever. Yeah, he had reasonable suspicion to stop all day long.
To produce an encounter.
Yeah, exactly.
So why did it go south, though?
I think part of it could have been lack of training, lack of awareness.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
That's the big thing. I mean, I think that is probably the biggest thing: lack of training, lack of awareness, and maybe not knowing how to. Obviously, the call is up there in terms of dangerousness.
Right.
You got to call drugs. Drugs usually means weapons involved. So,
right.
So I'm sure this cop was going right through his mind, like, okay, making sure all the checklists are going off. He's ready for whatever. Gets there and encounters someone who wasn't what he thought it was going to be, right? I think there was a confusion at that point.
Let me ask you a question. Again, playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And you have a history with autism, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that there was a probability that the officer did realize that there was something up with this kid, and then that made him somewhat panic, thinking that it became more dangerous? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, thing is, though, it's tough for me because, again, I deal with an autistic kid, and I see how he gets.
But you know him.
But I know him. This is someone that I wouldn't know, and again, I can't go into the officer's mind to figure out exactly what he was thinking, but. I mean, could he have thought it was a emotionally disturbed person he was dealing with all of a sudden?
Right.
Yeah, maybe. He knew something was up, but with that knowledge, though, now this is the time to switch gears.
Exactly.
From an investigatory stop to, from investigatory stop to an encounter. You got to know how to switch on and off. I mean, there are plenty of calls. You've been on, I've been on. That wasn't what it was. You start off where you're supposed to be,
right?
But then you realize it's not.
Sometimes you come in as a lion and then you have to come out as a lamb.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think this officer, unfortunately, was unable to turn that off. Went in as a lion and stayed a lion.
I get that. And again, we're not criticizing people, right? Like our job is to sit here and have the conversations to see how we can better ourselves. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to better ourselves as much as possible. We're trying to get you guys and everybody listening, and even the civilians listening, to start the conversations and realize how complicated these things actually are.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, as an officer, this officer had to wear multiple hats all of a sudden. He went from a cop, investigating drugs to all of a sudden now a social worker.
Right.
He should, I should say he should have, he stayed a lion where... even I had a call a while back for an OUI, guy driving under the influence. He was parked over at a Subway and he reportedly was sleeping in the car. He was all over the road. I get there. He was out of the car inside the Subway.
Right.
I go in there, went to engage with him. I mean, everything pointed towards OUI. Oh, yeah, this dude's shit-faced. But he didn't even have a shirt on. His muscles were twitching. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not OUI.
Right.
Like something's up with this guy. So I went from a lion now to a community caretaker.
He's stroking out?
Almost. He was going into diabetic shock.
Oh, okay.
He needed sugar bad.
Right.
He was so low, he was on that verge. So I called EMS. EMS came out. They tested his blood sugar right away. They're like, oh God, yeah. You know,
But see, that's an awareness thing.
well, exactly. As a cop, you have to be able to that whole idea of totality of circumstance is huge,
Yep.
huge in law enforcement. You got to basically be able to input all that information coming to you and then form a plan of action.
Process everything you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's tough. I get it. I've been there. You've been there.
Oh yeah.
But I think we just need maybe constant training on these things.
Absolutely. I mean, the once a year training on this shit doesn't do anything.
You're going to forget it
I mean,
fucking 2 hours after you leave.
Exactly. I mean, 4 hours on autism or 2 hours on autism, and let's do 6 hours on DT. It's not gonna. It's nothing.
It's not going
just
to make a difference.
It's a check in the box. If we were to do an actual autism class, it would take us nearly 3 months to probably go over every little tiny. I mean, even with my son, 10 years later, I'm still learning.
Of course.
So it's a huge thing that we have to deal with when it comes to mental health. That it's way too much, but we also have to be aware that it's out there, and not every stop is going to be what we thought it was going to be.
Well, you nail it on the head there, right? Like, we have to realize, again, we're not criticizing and we're not saying how bad fucking anybody is.
Yeah.
We're trying to better ourselves.
Yeah.
In an evolving society.
Yep.
Where things are getting stranger by the day.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right? Why not absorb? Why can't we be sponges and absorb as much information as we can out there from real experts?
Yeah.
Not people that claim to be experts.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Let's absorb and evolve and mitigate any issues that we think we can foresee. Oh,
100%. I agree. So guys, we started off with this. So again, if you really want to take a look at it as, I think, a 10-minute video or something. It goes through the whole scenario. The news was talking to the mom, and later on in the video, you'll see his social worker actually observing the encounter and ran to the officer and calmed the kid down and, went from there. But it's a good video. And again, for us, it was highlighting the awareness. We're not criticizing this officer.
Right.
We're not, dogging him, but we're more or less having that difficult conversation that we need to have to AAR each other. We have to.
Absolutely.
There's no way that we can perform better as policemen without criticizing each other and doing the AAR.
Look, I'm not criticizing. I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but I can almost guarantee you, tell me if I'm wrong, I can almost guarantee you that after this whole situation ended, he was probably like, fuck.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Like, shit, maybe I should have dealt with that a little bit better. Not saying he did anything wrong, right? Because you're not in his head, you're not in his eyes, you're not smelling what he's smelling and seeing and everything. I guarantee you he was like, fuck me. Why did that have to be me, first of all?
Yeah.
And what should I have done wrong, different?
Yeah, exactly. So the title of my article, again, I wrote "Live to Fight Another Day."
Yes.
There's a reason why I worded it that way.
Well, this all ties in.
Exactly. This all ties in. So for my fellow officers, I asked this question: why is it so hard for us to take a step back for a minute? Just to take a step back, as in step back of a situation. Why do we have to continue to go? And I'm not saying retreat. I'm saying if you suspect a crime and sure the person you are questioning has an attitude and pushes your buttons and whatever, and you end up taking the bait and arrest them for what a lot of us call blue plate special.
Yeah, exactly.
If no one knows what the blue plate special is, disorderly, disturbing the peace, ABPO,
Right.
resisting arrest.
Well, look, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying, how can we better ourselves, right? I've done it. I've had to criticize myself, and I've had to change things that I do.
Yep.
I've always said to myself that if you let somebody's words set you off, you've lost.
Oh yeah, and that's what it is. It's just baiting. So so it's like I've seen it so much where, a guy wounds up an officer so much, or a gal wounds up an officer so much, and that officer all of a sudden, bam, just takes the bait and makes the arrest. And again, like, to me, our arrest powers are something to take very seriously.
Of course they are.
You're taking a free person's liberty away from them.
It's one of unalienable rights that we have, our freedom.
It's a huge responsibility as an officer. And, myself and Pete know officers, unfortunately, that don't take it as seriously as they should when it comes to dealing with the public. And again, this is a minority, not the majority of officers.
Right.
Majority of officers are awesome people. The minority, the 80-20 split.
Sure.
We'll call it that.
Yep.
So when you end up doing that, you're going to get lawsuits. You're going to start getting indictments, like as in the officer gets in trouble.
Like real trouble.
Like real trouble, because there's nothing more serious to an officer than being called up to the carpet where you violate somebody's Fourth Amendment rights.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're done. I mean, you're done.
I was trying to explain it to a couple of civilian friends of mine that for years never asked me about my job or anything like that. And now that I got back into patrol, they're kind of seeing me differently. And they started asking me. And I said, even for simple traffic stops, your mind starts going probably in 15 different directions.
Oh, yeah.
Like, was the stop good? Not illegal. Was it legal?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Was it a lawful stop?
Yep.
Am I doing this right? Am I, what am I seeing in plain view? All these things are just checking through, checking the box.
Yeah. Here's the thing. As a good proactive cop, you're expected to do that. Like, that's something that you're going to do, because you got to check the box. You got to make sure everything you're doing is by law, legit. Because here's the thing: if you end up making a massive arrest, there's something called fruits of the poisonous tree.
It's gone.
It's gone. Where this dude could have been, I don't know, freaking planning the next Bin Laden stuff, and he's got missiles and everything in his car, but that stop was unconstitutional. Now you fucked
the whole thing up.
Yeah. And that is where us as proactive cops, we make sure that we don't fall into that trap.
Tell me if I'm wrong. The way I used to not teach it, but the way I used to help some of the new people I would say to them, how would you describe this in front of a judge?
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever action may be, whether locking somebody up or pulling someone over, I always envisioned myself standing in front of a judge and saying, Your Honor, Judge, this is what I was in my head. This is what I saw.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
whether it was a red light ticket or a fucking murder arrest.
Yeah. I mean, I've dealt, in my task force days and stuff like that, I've dealt with federal search warrants, federal arrest warrants, where I am standing before a federal judge saying, this is what I saw, this is what I believe, and I'm requesting a search warrant.
Now, keep in mind that the basis of knowledge and all that for federal warrants as opposed to state warrants are completely different.
Yes.
Or there are many differences, right? But you're still going through that checklist.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to.
You have to. And because here's the thing. If the search warrant's no good, everything is
gone.
Everything is gone.
Right.
And you're, the hard work you put in of months of investigations and months of doing surveillance and doing all this shit gets tossed out the window.
But let me tell you, from let's put on the civilian hat for a second. From a civilian's point of view, that's fucking awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Because your rights are being protected.
Yeah.
As best as possible. Like, we have to jump through hoops.
Oh my God, yeah.
We have to jump through hoops.
To me, rightfully so.
That's what I mean.
What I mean? Yeah.
Like, you're going into someone's home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a shitbag.
Yeah.
But they still have these rights
Yep.
that people have gone to war and fought over.
Yep.
Like, let's protect them as best as possible. If they're a shitbag, let's do our jobs right.
Yeah.
To make sure that we put these fuckers away.
Exactly. And that's kind of like my philosophy going into any warrant I write, any search warrant I write is, the hoops you gotta, I mean, on the state level, I mean, I'll give you guys a quick rundown on how it works. I do my investigation. I type up the search warrant. Then I have to present to my supervisor. Supervisor reads said search warrant, approves it. Then I have to go to a clerk magistrate. Clerk magistrate reads it over, and he or she may or may not approve it. And if that happens, now it's back to a drawing board,
right? Because
you didn't have enough probable cause. Now, I've never had a search warrant get turned away because we make sure that everything,
all your PC is there,
all the probable cause is there. So,
all right. You're going into scenarios in the article.
Yeah. So to me, there are. So back to this live to fight another day. There are two types of police interactions. To me. Okay. As cops, we need to know which one we are doing. The two types of police interactions are encounters and investigations.
Massive difference.
Huge difference. All right. And if you don't understand these two, if you're brand new, get to know these two differences.
Call us and ask us. We'll help you.
I mean, I'm going to explain it right now.
Yeah.
But they are paramount as like step one of being a great investigator, being a great cop out on the street. Encounter is just that. Two people conversing is an encounter. So, I'm a cop. I go to a person and just engage them in conversation. I do that all the time. I love talking to people.
Well, you even look at case law, right? And I'm not going to ramble on, but even during my studies, my promotional studies, I looked at a ton of case law, and it was like, how did the officer present himself? Did he walk up and say, "Hey, Ayman, how you doing, buddy? How's your day?" Or did he come up and say, "Stop, sir"?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's the court's going to look at that two different ways.
So, but I don't have any reasonable suspicion. Right? An encounter means a person I am talking to is free to walk away. He can tell me to fuck off or whatever. I don't have a crime to hold them. And this is where I believe cops get into trouble the most.
Yes.
Is that ego where you go up to anybody, in an encounter and say, "Hey, sir, how you doing?" "Oh, go fuck yourself." All of a sudden that goes from 0 to 100 in like 2.1, less than a second.
Right. And this is where the guys get in trouble.
And this is where the guys get in trouble, because here's the thing. You had an encounter. And we have something called freedom of speech.
Mind you, we're not trying to say that the person telling you to fuck yourself is doing the right thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're being an asshole.
No. They're being an asshole. And believe me, there are times where I'm like, oh my God, I hope I find something.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? But again, you can't let that get to you.
Side note.
Yeah.
I'm hearing in academies that the yelling is going away.
Yeah. Actually, I saw that. I recently went to an academy. I forgot to tell you this, actually. I recently went to an academy to help them with APP, which is at the end of the academy, that's called Applied Patrol Procedures. So you run through scenarios and what have you, and get graded on how you handle them.
Yep.
So I was one of the instructors during APP, and at this said academy, the instructors are not allowed to yell.
That's insanity to me.
The students, and this was over the summer, the students had lawn chairs out, sitting down, chilling, whatever.
That is insanity.
And I'm like, dude, I was like standing at attention at my,
They're looking at you like, look at this weirdo.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? So, and to me, the yelling and the stress inoculation,
Ding, ding,
there's
ding.
a reason for it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're yelling. They're not yelling to be assholes. Well, sometimes they are being assholes, but
it's discipline.
it's discipline. They're teaching you how you react to
Right.
stress and whether this job is really for you.
Exactly.
And that's it.
That's one of the things. I remember one of my instructors years ago, will remain nameless, but he said, if you're going to let me yelling at you break you, leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, it makes sense. It wasn't anything that I did, but it was kind of like to the whole class.
Yeah.
I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to be the biggest asshole you've ever met. And he, off the job, he's the nicest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's like a teddy bear.
Yeah.
But he got it in his mind, and that's how he was teaching us. So I can't tell you how many times somebody's told me to fuck myself or kill myself or this and that, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly. So anyways, before we get too far off track.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all right. So now an investigatory stop is just that. You as an officer have reasonable suspicion that a crime occurring or is about to happen. An encounter can turn into an investigation in a split second because you're building that probable cause. You're building, there's something there. You observed a hand to hand. You just saw it. It's all there.
Pebbles in the scales of justice.
Yes.
One little pebble just keeps weighing it down.
Exactly. And as those pebbles boom, 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 and you're just, that's it. You got your arrest. You're good. So, there are a ton of factors that go into these types of situations. I can't list every single examples of every single encounter and every single investigation, but you need to know the difference. I mean, for an example where it was an investigatory stop. I walked out of a hospital. I was in plain clothes. I'm walking towards my cruiser. I observed two males surround a house. And it looked off to me. To me, that's investigatory right there. I called them to me. They weren't free to leave. They were up to something.
That was a stop.
That was a stop. I said, hey, you.
Tterry stop. V Ohio.
Terry V Ohio. Yep, Terry V Ohio. And guys, we're going to get into Terry V Ohio real quick, just so to the non-cop or those who are interested in learning a little more about these things.
This is like a Cliff Notes.
Yeah, this is the actual case law is like 900 pages long probably, and if I was to read it, I'll sound like one of the monotone audiobook or something. And he went that way, and you guys will fall asleep by the time I'm done. But okay, so it's got real quick, down and dirty, what it is. So Terry v. Ohio. So this occurred October 31st in 1963. I mean,
It's a long time ago.
look how old that is.
Right.
I mean, that's a long time ago.
And it still holds weight.
It still holds weight. An officer in Cleveland, Ohio, a local policeman named Martin McFadden was on duty in downtown Cleveland and noticed two men standing on a street corner.
Marty?
Yeah, Marty.
I know Marty.
Exactly, right? He watched one of the men, looks like his last name's Terry, walk down the street, stop in front of a certain store, look through the window, barely continue on before turning around and returning to where he started and stopping on his way back to look at the store window again. Then the other man, Chilton, did the same exact thing.
So they were casing the place.
Case exactly. To a trained investigator, to a trained police officer, that you're casing the place. And one thing I want to point out with this case, did I ever mention race?
You did not. Very good point.
Did McFadden mention anything about race?
No, nowhere, and even in his appeal or anything, right?
No. In 1963,
Yeah.
he was profiling behavior.
He was in 1963, the height, the apex of civil rights and civil issues in the United States. And in one of the landmark cases that has built our foundation in law enforcement, never mentioned race once. Holy shit.
Exactly, right? I mean, that's it's like, wow. You know, it's one of those things where I actually noticed as I was reading the case way back when, and I was like, wow, not once did he say what they were.
Essentially, the court said in their wisdom,
Yeah.
guy was being asshole,
Yeah.
looking to do bad shit.
Yep.
Cop was in the right.
Exactly. I mean, the case. So they ended up. So what ended up happening was, he knew they were casing, so he approached them and he conducted an investigatory stop. I mean, he knew he had something, and he went to talk to them because in his training experience, they were up to something. So he knew it, well, he had a feeling that they were preparing to rob it. So he followed them, and he asked for their names, and they gave non-committal mumbling. So, there are things. So far, things are getting stacked up. Like, all right, something's not right. Their story doesn't make sense.
Pebbles in the scale.
And, your hairs are starting to stand in the back of your head. Something's not right. So he did what any good officer does. Do you have any weapons on you I need to know about? Conducts a pat frisk, finds a gun. There's the arrest.
So he questioned the pat frisk?
The pat frisk was questioned.
The pat frisk.
Because under the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable search and seizures. Exactly. So that's what was questioned. So the Supreme Court actually ruled police may stop a person if they have a reasonable suspicion that the person has committed or is about to commit a crime, and may frisk the suspect for weapons if they have reasonable suspicion that the suspect is armed and dangerous without violating Fourth Amendment prohibition on unreasonable search seizures. That was the Supreme Court.
It doesn't get any fucking clearer than that,
I know, right? It's like, wow. I mean, this is stuff that we learned way back in the academy.
Right.
And even if you took any sort of criminal justice type course, that's one of the cases they're going to throw at you. So,
as they should. Like, Terry v. Ohio should be like, the foundation of everything we're doing to protect ourselves.
yes.
To protect the public.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You go back to the whole fruit of the poisonous tree. Your bad frisk is going to throw the whole fucking thing out.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be gone.
Unless it was inevitable that you were going to find it.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? But let's not get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game right there. So going back to now this scenario that we played on the video. All right. So the officer asked the person what was in their hands and was immediately shown it was a piece of string. He
said it. It's a string.
He said it. In my opinion, the investigation changed.
Exactly.
It went from an investigation to an encounter.
An encounter.
Like, that's it. You're done.
Yep.
To me, and that's where, again, officers get in trouble because now they're like, what the fuck?
They're self-elevating.
Exactly. They now this officer, again, we can't get in his head. We don't know. But to me, and like Pete said, he stayed a lion where he should have gone back down. You know, where he should have been trained to do that, or whatever it may be.
Which sometimes when you approach as a lion and come out as a lamb, sometimes you're giving the opportunity to the quote unquote criminal to expose themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're not on guard anymore. They might even think, oh, I just got one over on this guy.
Oh, I'm sure you've had encounters. I've had encounters where I'm just talking and the suspect has no idea that what I'm actually doing. You know, they encounter the blah, 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 blah. And even then, when I'm doing the talking, if there's nothing, there's nothing. Walk away.
There's tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, that's why I called this article, Live to Fight Another Day.
Exactly.
Like, an asshole will always be an asshole. Trust me. You will deal with them tomorrow, even an hour later.
Right.
You will deal with them. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you can tell actually in the video towards the end when you watch the thing fully, he felt bad. You could tell, like, just the way he was caring about talking to the social worker and talking to the kid again. Like he knew he fucked up.
Yeah,
he knew it went south really quick, and I think he felt inside it could have been him that caused the injury to the kid. And
how did he get injured? I didn't catch that.
Supposedly he fractured a couple bones, so it sounded like this kid was brittle too. Yeah. So you know what I mean?
Because
like,
the takedown didn't look bad.
No, but reading the article, it sounded like he got some real significant trauma that happened to him, and I guess this kid was a big fan of police, but then now he's traumatized as a result.
Well, I don't care how big of a fan you are, right? The kid was probably so awestruck and his heart rate went through, again, like a sapient human being, right? Yeah. His heart rate through the roof, everything was going, and he didn't know how to react. In his head, he was probably like, I haven't done anything wrong. Yeah. What's this guy doing? You know?
Like I said, I mean, with my son, I always say 90% of what he does, 95% is not malicious. It's just, he's autistic, they're fidgety, they got tics, just shit happens. You know, he'll do something. He's not, a violent type, nonverbal and stuff like that. Thank God. That's a whole different subject right there.
Right.
But he's able to communicate. But even with his communication, you can tell, like, all right, this kid's out there.
Something's there. Right.
Like something's there. Something's there where he does not have the same social cues. I mean, obviously this kid's same thing. He doesn't really have those social cues to know when an officer says stop, it means stop. Officer says, "Don't move." You don't move. This kid was not aware of any of these things.
It's amazing to me. It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
it's an unfortunate event that could have been prevented. Maybe.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And hopefully that we can get more training out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
For people.
I mean, that's huge with training. I mean, I'm thinking of scenarios myself. Again, the whole OUI where the guy was drunk and I show up. Everything to me showed that he may have been drinking because he was staggering. He wasn't all there. So a caller calls us, says somebody's drunk driving all over the road.
They don't know. They don't know. They're reporting what they're seeing.
Yeah, they're reporting what they're seeing. And he is the driver is in a subway, parking lot, slumped at the wheel. So yeah, you know what? Yeah. Sounds like a typical drunk driver.
Yeah. And at first, if you gave me that description, I'd be like, OUI.
Yeah, OUI. Like I went there 100% OUI.
Yeah.
I pull up. He's not in the car. He's inside the subway. His car was still running.
But imagine if you didn't have the foresight or the awareness, right, to realize this guy was having diabetic issues.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you locked him up, and he died in the back of your fucking car.
Oh, my God. Oh, that would have been bad. I mean, that's what essentially happened. I walk in there. His muscles were twitching. And, he had all the telltale signs of OUI, but that one tiny little thing that I saw.
Look, I know it's a lot of experience, and kudos to you for doing that, right? But in a sense, you were kind of lucky for catching it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could have easily not caught it.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not dogging you in any way. No. It could have been one little thing that took your attention and you missed the fucking twitch.
That's the thing is, taking in all that information.
Yeah.
You have to be able to take everything in. You know, it's almost information overload, but you have to learn to compartmentalize each thing. You
Look,
know,
you're not going to overload yourself as a cop.
No, you're not. And people like to say info. You know, I use the term info overload because, you know, with us cops, we use all our senses: eyes, ears, nose. Like everything is taken in with us, especially with a heightened crime. It's like a little more heightened with us. We're like, okay, something's up here, you know, something's going on there. Our senses start getting kicked up notches.
Yep.
You know, I'm sure you felt it. I mean,
Absolutely.
especially on SWAT hits, dude, my senses are through the roof.
Through the roof.
You know, so same thing with this guy. I mean, you know, with that muscle twitch, you have to go from investigation and encounter to community caretaker. Now I got to take care of this human being. Something's not right with him. You know, I called the EMS. They came down. Blood sugar was dangerously low.
Right.
Dangerous. He was on the verge of a diabetic stroke.
So you essentially saved this guy's life, and you saved everybody else's life too. That was he was driving a car, right?
Yeah.
So and it ended up great. Guy's not charged. His life isn't ruined.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So that's the point, and that's one of the things we're going to be teaching with our stress inoculation. Stress inoculation isn't just getting shot at.
No.
Stress inoculation is Ayman and me screaming in your face or acting like we're going into diabetic shock.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Pretty much. And you're going to have to, as someone taking our class, you're going to have to recognize these things. And, you know, one of my biggest things is when we train us as cops, law enforcement, one big thing I've always noticed is usually the op 4 or the other person who's playing the bad guy is a buddy cop of yours. And what are you going to do? You're going to fuck around.
Exactly.
You're not going to really take it seriously because both of you are joking. And, you know, it is what it is.
Even in the op 4 situation when you're shooting at other people, dude, like even with instructors, they're only going to shoot you when you present your ass to them or something like that. No, fuck no.
Yeah.
Do it like the bad guy would do it.
Exactly. So, I mean, a lot of what we're going to do is reality-based training, which means real reality-based training.
I'll tell you what I'm not a fan of. The index in the middle of a fucking scenario.
Don't index. I mean,
play it out.
Yeah. I remember long time ago in a faraway galaxy, when I was training to go to war. I was a junior NCO, I was a sergeant, and I remember we were doing a mount training, so urban warfare training, so, you know, clearing houses, buildings, stuff like that.
Yep.
And I remember that one day I actually got stuck. We were mid getting ambushed by the Op 4, and they were fucking picking us off relentlessly. And I kind of froze. Instructor never indexed it. He just kept going. He just kept looking at me. He's like, "What are you gonna do, Sergeant? What are you gonna do? Let's go. Think of something."
Why that doesn't happen, I've trained that way, but why that doesn't happen in fucking law enforcement is beyond me.
You know what? It goes back to the ego.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. Like in SWAT, we're ruthless with each other when it comes to training.
Right.
We know that, you know what, because I got to trust my buddy to my left, to my right. They need to know where they fuck up so I can be safer and they can be safer.
We can all be better.
We can all be better. I think in the general sense of officers as a whole, it's an ego thing. They don't. I could see that. They can't take the criticism. Like, you can see it. Some patrol guys, you tell them they did wrong, and they're like, "Well, that's not the way I've been doing it." No, because you're fucking wrong. You know, let's change that. I mean, this happened to me at the range, actually, during quals. One of the officers was fucking up on his shooting, and I went to correct him, and he tells me, "Well, that's not the way I was taught." I'm like, go fuck yourself, dude. Really? Change. There's a reason why you're shooting a little too much to the fucking left.
And you're not doing it to criticize the kid.
No.
But hold on, devil's advocate. There are instructors out there. There are people shooting to your right and your left that will criticize you just to make themselves feel better about themselves.
Oh, yeah. But, it's not like I called them out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
While we were shooting.
I get
you
what
know
you're
what
saying.
I mean?
I get what you're saying.
I know some instructors that get off on fucking, "Hey, Billy, you fucked up." And, they don't do corrective actions.
Right.
You know, like I went up to this kid and he's shooting. I'm like, "Hey, dude, moving a little to the left. Try this, do this, do this." "Well, that's not the way I was taught." "Oh.
How about this one? You ever had an experience being an instructor yourself?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the experience where you correct somebody, all good, everything's good intention, and then the kid turns around and tells you, "Well, hey, Jimmy over there, that instructor told me to do it that way."
Oh, yeah, I've had that.
And you're like, "Motherfucker, come here."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What?
I mean, one good thing with the training cadre I'm on, we're relatively young. And we're all on the same page.
Mostly veterans, too,
mostly
probably.
veterans. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's a good group of guys, but I do know of certain cadre that either they hate each other or one contradicts the other and doesn't do it. Again, it's ego, guys. I mean, even with this article, like live to fight another day, to me, it's all ego.
Let it go.
It's all pumping my chest. It's all like, oh, you told me to go fuck myself. Now I'm going to arrest you, give you the blue plate special, and essentially ruin your life.
It comes back to, like, even one of the things we talked about in the first few episodes about the switch.
Yes.
Right. And it's, instead of calling it a switch, call it a dimmer switch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to go so bright.
Yeah.
Your switch can be on. There's power to it. The light's on. Doesn't have to get so bright.
No. And you really need to know that difference between an encounter and investigation. You have, like,
Yes.
you have to, as an officer, that should be a mandatory, mandated training to know the difference to when you're talking to somebody and when you're investigating somebody.
Hey, why not, when you're doing an in-service, like, how much money is it going to take, or how much effort is it going to take to add in 2 scenarios to a fucking in-service on a Terry stop?
Listen, we got to drink our coffee and read our newspapers and in-service, dude. That's way too much. To actually train?
Right.
Come on.
But think about it, right? Some of the biggest problems that we have is, do we have the time? Do we have the money? Is it in our budget? How much more do you need to add a 2-minute scenario to 10 guys?
Yeah, I know. The scenarios are out there. Look at any body cam footage that we have,
Right.
any security camera, and remake that fucking scenario. You know, recreate it.
How do you feel about the body cameras? Do you let people look at yours?
My department, we don't have them yet.
You don't have body cameras?
No.
Holy shit. Can I come work for you?
Yeah, come on over.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, we don't have body cameras. One, it's budgeting because we're
It's a massive expense.
We're a large city. I'm surprised a city as big as yours are able to get them.
I have no idea where they got the money from.
Yeah.
And now we're not going to get into specifics for a little, for protecting myself, but the quote unquote leadership in the city has asked for, instead of just body cameras being on during an encounter or a stop, they want them on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You know what's funny about that? I think they forgot something about our Fourth Amendment rights.
Look, in a sense, I get that they're diminished when you're in uniform a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. And I agree with it because you're a public servant. You're out there, right? But do you want to watch me peeing?
Yeah. Do you want to listen to my phone call to my wife or significant other?
Right.
You want to hear about my plans tonight?
You talk to your dog, so I mean.
Oh, well, yeah. Dogs, cats, and a parrot. It is what it is.
But, like, it's a massive expense, and it's not the actual cameras themselves, it's the data.
Yeah, that's what I've learned. I've learned it's just, it takes a lot of data to store that.
My question to you is, somebody heard about a call that I was on a couple of weeks ago, right? And I was like, yeah, I'll show you the body camera. We're all cops here, so it's not like we're showing it. And even if you wanted to, it's Freedom of Information Act. You can get it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, look at my body camera. I have no problem with it. Here you go. You know what? Critique me, new guy, and tell me what I did wrong, because all my big bad experience, I can be doing something wrong, right? So he looked through it and he was like, yeah, that was good. That was good. That was good. I'm like, why did you just tell me everything I did good? Tell me what I did wrong.
Yeah.
And he was like, you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And he gave me a list of things I did wrong.
So why didn't he do that from the when
he was scared to?
Yeah.
He was scared to. Not like I was going to beat him up or anything like that, but he had some kind of respect for me. Whatever.
You have a big beard and those crazy eyes.
I look like
crazy Greek eyes.
Yeah.
It's like Leonidas kicking that.
And I'm constantly chomping at people, so they think I'm going to bite them. Yeah. I get it. But again, it comes back to being scared. Why were you scared to tell me what I did wrong? Why are you scared to let the scenario and training keep going? You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, like on SWAT, we get some of the new guys, and you know, a couple of these new guys just came back from war, and they were in really high speed units.
Right.
You're talking Marine Force Recon. You're talking Rangers. You're talking like really, really good guys. Hey, new guy, I know you're new, but guess what?
Right.
Clearing room is clearing room. Speak the fuck up.
Speak up.
If
exactly.
you see something wrong, if you see something off.
But there's a humbleness there too. Like, I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
when I was new, I barely spoke.
I was the same way.
You know.
But again, it as leaders, even if we have a brand new guy on the SWAT team, but we know, I mean, the leadership know our background, each guy's background, because, you know, here's the thing with SWAT, it's like another application process pretty much to get on SWAT.
Yeah.
And the leadership know what you've done, what you've been through, all that shit. And it's up to the leadership to say, hey, new guy, come here and inquire, ask.
That give them some responsibility too.
Exactly. You know, and I think, you know, as a new guy, that gives you, the new guy respects the leadership a little bit more, because the leadership recognize that this guy's a fucking Silver Star recipient at war. Maybe we should take a couple things from him.
You just made me think of a particular person. No names, but we had a similar circumstance, right? Silver Star type of fucking guy that came on, and we'll call him Mr. Know-It-All.
There you go. Okay.
Mr. Know-It-All, who's never shed a tear in his life, right? Who's never, I'll put it this way, never had a stressor in his fucking life. Like silver.
All right, I know those.
Silver spoon type of fucking person, right?
Yeah.
Turns around and tells us that the new guy's a fucking idiot.
Oh boy.
And we're like, really?
Yeah.
Like, this guy probably has fucking cried more over people that he's killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But again, dude, it's like, you know, same thing with this article. It's the ego shit. It's like, dude, let go of your ego for a minute. You know, I think policing would be so much better to have that mantra of the way, you know, Army Special Forces is, of that quiet professional, of not letting your ego get to you, because you know it's not, needed.
You see it in special ops, right?
Oh yeah,
you see it in special ops. How there's rarely ever any rank in the room.
No,
unless they're the TL or something, or you know what I mean. There's rarely ever any rank. Everybody gets to criticize. Everybody's brothers. Everybody's sisters. Everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ayman, you fucked up going through that room. I saw you do this, even if you're not convinced of it.
Yep.
And if I do it, tell me.
Yeah. That's my number one rule that I tell to everybody, like all the SWAT members. I always say, listen, I fuck up, just tell me. That way I can correct, I can do, because in the heat of the moment, sometimes you do miss a step. You zig instead of zagged, and it happens.
But here's the thing, and I love it. I'm a big proponent for arguing about it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, there are times I've argued my
case,
and leadership would nod their head. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I see that.
You're articulating as to why you did X, Y, and Z.
And the way they take it is, as a SWAT officer, if I'm able to articulate it, it means I can put it on a report. It means that the court can
testify to it.
I can testify to it. Sometimes I know they do that purposely to us, to test us if we're able to present that in court.
As they should.
Yeah. They say, hey, Ayman, why did you do that? Oh, I did this because blah, blah. Okay, why? Go deeper. Okay, because, you know, whatever. I saw him go that way, motion that way. Typically, that means to me he's going for a gun, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Perfect.
Why aren't we doing that on patrol? Again, because of ego.
Ego.
It comes back to ego.
As a SWAT guy, you're expected to be criticized. You're expected to be, here's the thing, even in the military and combat arms units, you're expected to be criticized all the time. And it's not to dog you, it's to make you better.
I met a new kid maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and he came to me and asked me, hey, can I get your opinion on that last call? And it had nothing to do with me being a good cop or anything like that. That went out the fucking window. I looked at this kid and I said, just because you're asking someone, not me, just because you're asking someone, you're going to be a great fucking cop.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be a great fucking cop.
I mean, how many times have you actually told new guys, if you guys have questions, just come up to me and ask, and hardly any of them do?
Exactly. Well, you can tell, dude. You can tell who got the job just to get the paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it's sad because, you know, Project Sapient is about producing some of the best officers that the U.S. will have.
Sharpening
those skills, you know, knocking the rust off on stuff that really should be trained, like dealing with an unstable person, like dealing with a hot call, an active shooter. Like, there are things that need to be constantly trained.
But here's the thing with Project Sapient, especially when we get to that down the road, we're going to be doing. I don't want to give out I don't want to give out too much info, but the way we're going to do it hasn't ever been done before.
No, it hasn't.
And I think leadership is going to really appreciate the way we the way we present it.
The reason why we don't want to reveal too much is because we want it as a surprise. And when you guys experience it, it's going to click right away on why it's being done that way.
Right.
And it's going to be phenomenal.
And I'll put it to you this way. Excuse me. One of the things that we're going to be doing, again, not giving up too much info, but we're going to be working hand in hand with leadership.
Yes.
And I'll leave it at that. And people are going to, when you see the end result of it, people are going to be like, oh, fuck, I never expected that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's the point of it, right?
That is the point of it. It's to avoid scenarios such as this, this unfortunate scenario. It's to make you, force you to be aware.
Yes.
To know your surroundings, to pay attention to the littlest of details. Under stress even. I mean, it's amazing how, whatever stress you go through, how you can pick up little tiny bits of information subconsciously and react to it in a way that you never thought you'd react.
Dude, it's little things like even auditory and visual exclusions.
Yeah. Right.
I'll never forget it. I was helping out with one of the SWAT schools when they were going through, and the kids were they were my age. I'm an idiot. We're so focused on the range, right? And getting the right shots and this and that. One of the instructors actually got on the line, and we had just gotten rid of our we had a fully automatic MP5, believe it or not, right? But he got on the line and just let out an entire fucking mag, and nobody saw it, nobody heard it, nobody even looked at him.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're gonna do some of that stuff. We're gonna do some of that auditory and visual exclusion stuff.
Thing is, though, these things that, again, the military has shown it time and time again during training, and I'm not talking about actual when we get into combat. During training, there are certain things that can be induced. That way you have the same exact physiological response as you would have in the real situation.
Look, it's muscle memory, right? Your mind is the biggest muscle you have.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful one you have.
Like Mike Tyson said, I go back to what Mike Tyson said, your mind, your body carries your mind.
Exactly.
Your mind does everything.
So even with Sapient, we're probably not going to make you, run through a SWAT school.
Yeah.
Physically, you're not going to have to climb ladders, and you're not going to. No. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But worry the fuck about what we're going to do to your head.
Yeah. It's going to be a mind fuck.
It's going to be probably a good one.
Oh, it's going to be a good one because it forces you to think. And this course is going to weed out that 80-20 also. It's going to show you the officers who really deserve to be there versus the officers who shouldn't even be there.
Absolutely, 100%. So are we missing anything in your article?
No, we pretty much went through it and talked about, live to fight another day, as in let your ego go. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. And if you don't have it, it's okay.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. And you know what? That asshole will be an asshole tomorrow, and tomorrow you can catch him on something else. So
100%.
I wouldn't even stress on it.
It comes back to, you maybe have heard the saying, it was regarding car chases, right? And I'm never going to tell anybody don't chase or anything like that unless it's, not safe or whatever, but you can always outrun the Crown Victoria, but you can't outrun Motorola.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It was it was an old timer saying, he's probably going to hear this and be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right. Don't use that.
But it's true, right? Short of, and I'm not going to tell anybody how to do their jobs, but short of, some mass murderer that you're not going to give up in any circumstance. You're not going to let the guy get away. Yeah. If it be an E suspect, okay, we'll get him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. We'll get him. No big deal. And like you said, it's not, unless it's, what do I call them? Boathouse and speed bump. Unless it's guys like that, where you're going to chase them to the end of the world.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's people that you're going to chase to the end of the world. Hurt a kid, I'm chasing you to the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
And we're falling off the fucking edge.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. But again, B&E, you know what? We'll get him.
Whatever. Speeder. Yeah. We'll get you. Yeah. Don't worry.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
Exactly. So kind of gist of everything. I know we kind of got sidetracked talking about Project Sapient some more, but the gist of, what? The gist of this is just let your ego go, be good cops, and, know the difference between an encounter and an investigation.
And again, if you have any questions, reach out to us.
Project Sapient 2020 at gmail.com, guys.
Reach out to us, guys. Listen, everybody be safe. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making Project Sapient into what it's become. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, see ya.